Hello everyone, it's Mr. McManus, and today I am reading This Moose Belongs to Me by Oliver Jeffers. Wilfred owned a moose. He hadn't always owned a moose. The moose came to him a while ago, and he just knew, that it was meant to be his. He thought he would call him Marcel. He began following Marcel, explaining the rules of how to be a good pet. Well, that'd be a very good pet there, actually. Wish my dogs did that. Much of the time, it seemed as though the moose wasn't listening, but Wilfred knew he was, mostly because he followed rule number 4 very well, not making too much noise while Wilfred plays his record collection. Sometimes the moose wasn't a very good pet. He generally ignored rule number 7, going whichever way Wilfred wants to go. And the moose had a very good sense of direction. Wilfred did not. And because the moose was particularly poor on rule number 7, subsection B, maintaining a certain proximity to home, Wilfred quickly learned to bring some string along for their outings so he could find his way back again. Sometimes the moose was an excellent pet. He had no trouble with rule number 11, providing shelter from the rain. Gosh, I don't have any of these rules for my pets. I think my pets would just say no if they could talk. Or rule 16, knocking down things that are out of Wilfred's reach. Good work. Gosh, he's going above and beyond, this moose. One day, as Wilfred discussed their plans for the coming year on a particularly long walk, he made a terrible discovery. What do you guys think it is? Someone else thought they owned the moose. Rodrigo, you're back! Wilfred was dumbstruck. This moose was Marcel, not Rodrigo. The old lady was mistaken, and Wilfred thought it only proper that he correct her. This moose belongs to me, he explained. And to prove it, he called Marcel. Heel. But the moose did not respond. He seemed more interested in the old lady. Good Rodrigo. I'll put my teeth in next time, kids. Fine. Oh, he doesn't look happy. Embarrassed and enraged, Wilfred rushed off for home. But in his haste, and miles from anywhere, he tripped over his string and got tangled up. And there he lay. Wilfred was beginning to get a little bit worried. It was past his home time now, and the monsters would soon be out. What monsters live in the woods? He had just ruled out the last of his options. Oh, these must be all the monsters. When along came the moose and performed rule 73 brilliantly, rescuing your owner from perilous situations. Do you really think he's rescuing him? All was forgiven, and perhaps Wilfred admitted he'd never really owned the moose anyway. Oh, he's torn up his name tag. With that in mind, he and the moose reached a compromise. The moose would agree to all of Wilfred's rules whenever it suited him. And that was This Moose Belongs to Me by Oliver Jeffers.